Hey everyone, if you're just joining in, this is going to be part two of the leg. We're covering all the muscles from the knee down to the feet. Um, if you wanted to see something above the knee, please go back to the first video and kind of skip through to where you need. It is going to be a longer video, just warning you. But let's go ahead and dive in and get started. So, let's go ahead and start on this back side. We mentioned in this first video this popliteal fossa. We see it right here on this other side, on this other leg. We've got the tibial nerve. We have this popliteal vein, popliteal artery right in here. Um, Coming right out of that popliteal vein, we have this small saphenous vein or lesser saphenous vein. Again, we have that great saphenous vein that starts up there towards the femoral vein, right up at the top, right when it comes underneath that inguinal ligament. But this lesser saphenous, you can see, comes right down that calcaneus tendon or Achilles tendon, and then comes on this lateral side of this malleolus or the fibula. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. If I can click on it. Now, um, let's hit the muscles. So this is part of your gastrocnemius. I'm going to call them your calf muscles, but that is the technical term is gastrocnemius. You have two heads to them. You have a medial head and a lateral head, and they both insert above the knee joint, and they're on the posterior side of the epicondyles, really. And so they're coming up, inserting on top, as you can see. So if we get rid of this, holy cow, look at that huge chunk of muscle that's just gone. But we have this common tendon right here coming all the way down to that calcaneus, that bone. So that Achilles tendon, it's got three muscles that are going into this tendon. We have the plantaris muscle, which is also above the knee joint. This is a very small muscle compared to the other two that it works alongside with. So we have plantaris, and the motion of all three of these muscles is to plant your foot down like this. So point your feet down. Let's get rid of that muscle. And we'll get rid of that tendon. Below the gastrocnemius, the big muscle that we see is soleus. If we rotate towards the front, you can kind of see that soleus right there. If we come back right here, it is behind all of these muscles that we're going to cover. So let's go ahead and get rid of it. All right. This is your popliteus muscle. We really don't cover it in the course, but you can see it's kind of reminds you of your supinator muscle in your arm, or you can think of it as like your pronator teres, um, but just helps with knee flexion and medial rotation, as you can see over on this side. All right, let's move to the anterior side now. Just looking at this leg, we're going to have three muscles that come onto the top of the foot and then somewhat go towards the medial side of the foot. And these are going to be your dorsiflexion muscles. I'll just show you what dorsiflexion is right now. So that's dorsiflexion. So you've got three muscles that play a part in this. And we call them Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's the best way for me to remember them. So Right now, the one that's highlighted, its name is Tom or tibialis anterior. If we isolate that muscle, we can see that it's on the lateral side of the tibia, but it comes down, wraps around, and inserts underneath that first digit in the metatarsal. Second muscle in this row we're going to see is extensor hallucis longus. Hallucis is just a fancy word for big toe, and it's coming down into the phalange of that big toe. But let's isolate it really quick. It is coming off of the fibula. So this one, the nickname we give it is Harry. So we've covered Tom and Harry, and now it's time to meet Dick. So this is extensor digitorum longus. If we isolate that, it's also inserting on the top of the tibia, as you can see. Comes down right in front of the fibula, and just like extensor digitorum in the antebrachium or in the arm, we see that its tendons separate and go into the toes. Okay. Don't get, when you write this down on a test, make sure you put extensor digitorum longus. If you just write extensor digitorum, you're talking about the muscle on the arm, and you'll get it wrong. So make sure you write extensor digitorum longus. But that's Tom, Dick, and Harry that perform dorsiflexion. Let's get rid of those. Now, if we move to the lateral side of the leg, we're going to run into a couple of muscles. The first one is going to be fibularis longus. Let's isolate it. So it's going to come up and it's connecting into the head of the fibula, comes straight down, but then the tendon comes on the posterior side of the malleolus, of the lateral malleolus. We want to be specific. Oh, and I'll show you. It comes and wraps underneath the foot and connects right there in the first digit, or your big toe. So that was fibularis longus. If we get rid of that one, we're going to run into fibularis brevis. Fibularis brevis, right here, follows the same tendon as its big brother, fibularis longus, comes around the lateral malleolus, inserts into that first digit. So, looking at the front of the leg, we can kind of see this interosseous membrane like we did in the antebrachium, in between the radius and the ulna, right? So this interosseous membrane, it separates um, the posterior side and the anterior side, and we have this anterior tibial artery, and then we have anterior tibial veins as well coming down. And this will turn into your dorsalis pedis artery. We didn't need to know fibularis tertius, so I just got rid of it. So let's go ahead and get rid of this anterior tibial artery and vein. We'll pull off this interosseous membrane so you can kind of see, and there is a muscle that is sitting right there. Covering these arteries and veins still, we have the posterior tibial vein and artery. If we remove this muscle for a second, you can kind of see back up in there. So, posterior tibial artery and vein, we'll just get rid of. You can kind of see it goes all the way down and onto the medial side of the foot. This is that tibial nerve right there. So we have tibialis posterior, and it's coming on the back side of the leg and wraps around the medial malleolus. Then you have flexor digitorum longus, just like we had an extensor digitorum longus. Let me go back and isolate both of these. There's that tibialis posterior. And then we had flexor digitorum longus. Just like the extensor, it's going to the other digits. Sitting right along this tibia. The last one on this back side, we have flexor hallucis longus. So we had extensor hallucis longus, we had extensor digitorum longus. So they're kind of matching up. So the ones on the back side come around the back side of the medial malleolus, while the ones in the front come around the lateral malleolus. So that's really it. The only thing that we're really missing right here is the extensor retinaculum. Let's see if I can pull that up really quick. So I've got this pulled up right here. This is your extensor retinaculum. So all the muscles on the front of the leg are going underneath this and holding it in place, as you can see. So this is going to be it for this video. We covered all of the muscles in the leg. We're not going to cover the ones in the foot, mostly because that's something that we just don't cover in this undergrad course. And that's going to be it for this video. All right, I just want to give credit where credit is due. These are the books and the resources I used for the videos. So first we have Essentials of Human Anatomy by Dr. Kurt Walker. We then have Essential Clinical Anatomy by Keith L. Moore and M.R. Auger and Arthur F. Daly. I also used Structure and Function of the Human Body by Mark Nilsson and Jamie Garbett. The last book I have is The Concise Book of Trigger Points by Simon Neil Asher. And then I used the app called Complete Anatomy. As you've seen from the videos, it's amazing. If you can afford it, I suggest it. It's such a useful tool when learning this stuff. So that's it. Have a good day.